since they are being recording, yes, since they are being recorded, I want to, be able to touch base, and you could always follow back up. I totally understand, we're all working. Um, and so that brings me to today. I actually want to first introduce my beautiful guest that is with me, and I totally taken advantage of her. We are doing a future construction leaders, girls construction camp. And in my area, it's the first time we're doing it. So Linda Young, who is a 40-year member and a past national president, she is joining with us since they started it in the San Diego area and came down to make sure, kind of oversee what we're doing and giving us some tools and tips. And so I thought, what better, leadership in that for her join us. So I appreciate it. I don't know if she's super excited, but she is in it. So thank you. So we are going to start with today is, most of us, I think probably 99% of us have already taken our elections and have our leadership, our next regime in place. So congratulations to your chapters and the next officers. Tonight is our chapter. Actually, we're doing our election. So not everybody is done, but congratulations to those that have already done it. So yay and welcome. I am Sean Alvarado, CIT, CBT, and I am your chapter leadership. It is a subcommittee right now under chapter development, which is where, the chartering of new chapters, and our committee is in charge of chapter leadership. I know next year we're going to be separated, so it should take on a whole new a different kind of lead, and tuning it to what's next. So super excited. And Jen Deweese is taking on that role. So that's cool. And Jen, are you in here by chance? Well, she might pop on, so hopefully she can share some insight too. And we have a lot of fun things planned at convention. If you're going to Boston, we are going to be doing a train the trainer, kind of like a mini series to give you, because we have done numerous times, how many board meetings do you have to have? What establishes a quorum? Who is on the board? The role of it. So we do have those in our previous recordings, and we are going to be doing another one at convention. So, and hopefully that will be recorded as well. So it is giving you the resources and all the tools to find all the information that you need. And again, we're available. I've always said almost 24/7. So please do not hesitate to reach out to myself, my co-chair, Tony, Teresa. We're available and ready to answer any questions you have. So these are Zoom, so I want them very informal. I want to be able to help answer any questions that you might have. Anything that, something came up, how can we address it? Because I think every chapter is different. And I think, maybe something going on in one chapter might be going on in another chapter, and how can we help each other? So I think that is better than me even talking. So please feel free to utilize the chat, or just, say, hey, I have a question, raise your hand, whatever it is, and let's answer it together. So I just want to hold on one sec. Okay. Okay, so let's dive in. So today is the Empowering Women to Lead with Purpose and Information. So we are going to talk about I'm just going to review our core purpose, the core values, our mission statement, and envisioned future. These can actually be found on the NAWIC website. So if you ever have them, or they should be on your regional websites, they are just something I think very valuable to keep the chapter, the mission, what we are and who we are right there front and center, to make sure everything you're doing just follows along. The core purpose: to strengthen and amplify the success of women in the construction industry. Core values: women focused, courageous leadership, commitment to inclusion and growth, anticipate change. The mission statement, the association committed to champion women to impact the direction of the construction industry. NAWIC provides education, community, and advocacy for women. Envisioned future. Women's contributions to the construction industry are recognized and sought after. Women's leadership results in industry growth and success. Women receive compensation equal to all within the industry. NAWIC is identified as the resource for female leadership, with members recognized for their expertise and commitment. Yeah, and these all tie into when your national board comes together and we go over, you know, the strat plan, your strategic planning, mid-year, or it could be at board orientation. You know, are these aligned with what is happening now? Does something need to be changed? Is, you know, because as we know, every day something changes, you know, making sure we're aligned with our mission statement and what we're doing is connecting the dots together with our plan and the values, right? Yeah. Okay. So understanding NAWIC and your role. So we just went over like NAWIC's mission and core values. So I think the biggest thing also there is making sure that your chapter, you know, what is the plan? Do you guys have strategic plan? And, you know, we actually did do at the beginning of the year a strategic plan training with our national strategic plan chair, Lonnie Mitchell. So that should be recorded. So if you have a chance to go back and, you know, look at that one. But if you do, is it aligned with the core values and the NAWIC mission? You want to make sure everything you're doing aligns with that and you're following those values. So kind of take a look at the chapters and what your plans are for the year, the upcoming year, and the meetings that and events that you're holding. NAWIC stands for National Association of Women in Construction. I think we all know that one. And the mission to strengthen and amplify the success of women in the construction industry. Our core values, you know, develop professional development, leadership, community, education, and mentorship. So every chapter activity should support the NAWIC mission and the values. The structure, chapter, region, and national. Chapters are the heart of NAWIC, where members engage and connect. Regions provide support, the resources, and leadership development. National oversees the operations, the long-term strategy, governance, and to know, you know, and then also have it tie into, you know, the regional. So I always say, you know, I think we can do better in our communication, but to make sure that we're really
through UMPOs.
That's. Did you have a question, Robin? To really make sure that we get to know, you know, our director, get involved with the chapter presidents and know that that communication is being aligned from national to regional and chapter. So I think we do have another slide that we will go further involved in that communication. So yeah, the roles and responsibilities of chapter leaders. So there is, if everybody, you know, that's going to be, there is our chapter, the bylaws, you know, section C, you want to get familiar with that. These are like, I think like the law, you know, they're almost like the Bible of NAWIC, because when something ever, you know, it's like, okay, check your standard bylaws. So make sure you guys take a minute, read those, I believe, Article C, chapter or section C, that's all about your chapter, but don't, you know, read them all. They were just updated and revised. So if you have any questions, you could always talk to Catherine Schonenberger, and she will be able to, as the bylaws chair, or any, you know, other officer or your regional director. But the roles and responsibilities of chapter leaders: the president leads the board, sets the tone, represents the chapter. The vice president supports the president and often leads events or special projects, as well as you have in there some chapters may or include a president-elect. So that would be similar duties. Their years to kind of oversee and kind of help, prepare for their year and help the president as needed. Secretary maintains the records, the meeting minutes, and communications. The treasurer manages the budgets, reports, and chapter finances. And the board and committee chairs help drive programs, events, and outreach. Those are simple terms, but again, in section C, it has a better outline of the rules, as well as I'm sure every chapter kind of has a little more detail into what those rules are. And if anybody needed more information on like what does the treasury actually do, please reach out. We do have handbooks for the treasury. We have handbooks for the secretary as well as the president. So those are all outlined. Also on our website, we came up with a new, like a one-page to-do list, for the president to make sure that they, remember, when is the 990 e-postcard due? When do we need to do the audit committee? When is elections need to be done? Those are all, this is what the resources are. We're here just to help you, help to understand, give any kind of feedback and valuable information to help you guys do your job better. So please, and we're working on a secretary's one-page sheet to make it just more simplified and not as scary, because sometimes when you come into these roles, it is, what do I do? I'm elected. Now what? Yeah. Do you have any feedback on those? I hate not seeing our people. Yeah. Trying to get it to where we can see. Where do I find that? They should be under our, in the NAWIC website, under chapter leadership. We have our own page in the committees. If they are not there, we will make sure that they are there. Or you can email me at any time and I could send you those handbooks. But yes, they are there. And the presidents were emailed all the one-page forms. So hopefully with the transition, I think the biggest thing also in the transition is, so now you're elected. So even though that role does not start until, you're installed October 1st, but right now start, with that current president, the current secretary, the current treasurer, get with them. How do we do this? What are my duties? What, let me follow you, shadow you. I think that's the best way. Even like if we were in our own business, we are trying to mentor those leaders and trying to show them the tools that we do. How do we do our job? I would never want to put somebody in a position that, okay, here you go, and take it. That's not giving them the success, it's setting them up for failure. So right now, if you are elected or if you're a seated officer merging into another position, make sure that we are, helping and engaging that next person to better, giving them the tools so they could better do their job and, know the ropes, because sometimes it's a brand new member. And I think that's why this committee was brought up, is because so many people, are new to NAWIC or new to the industry, and then they're getting into roles and they're not getting the proper training or the background to what is NAWIC, our foundation, how do we do this? And so that's why we have this training. But the more that we can help one another and teach them and give them the training and the tools, it helps, the success of all the chapters. So connecting with national committees, I think this is a huge one on the communication. And these are just, again, these are probably my thoughts now on this one, is I can't stress communication enough. So the chapter presidents get a lot of information, whether it's through email or through the committees. Hopefully they're getting CC'd on the other committees, whether it be WIC Week or membership or DE&I, whatever it is. And that way they are relaying this information, whether it be a newsletter or at their general meetings, like this contest is going on, or here are the due dates, or registration is now open for annual conference, early bird. If we're not relaying the information, then our membership doesn't know. So the more information you can share, Even if it's something that we hear just as a regular member, maybe we need to remind our president or the secretary or whoever it is that, can we make sure we add this to the newsletter? Can we make sure you mention this at the meeting? Because sometimes we're all in our day-to-day roles and forget. I know a prime example, even, today, and I'm doing this camp and just work. I mean, just life in general gets in the way and ahead of us. And sometimes it just gets out of sight, out of mind. Like when we were talking earlier, Dottie, the post-it notes, make sure we write notes as whatever can keep you organized. Those are always helpful, but it is nice when we can help one another instead of saying, well, they should have said that, or why didn't they? I mean, if we knew about it, let's share that information. Chapters can align their programs with national themes and toolkits. So every year, I think the president comes up with a new, like, Together We Rise. So every year, the current president or incoming will come up with a theme. And I know a lot of presidents tie their themes into that. So those are always helpful. So I think when you're coming in, also start planning for installations. There is the ceremonial handbook on the website. I do know that is on the website. And there are some really, really cool things in there to plan your installations, or even those that are coming up. Take a look at it. So that starts giving you ideas. I know even for me, as coming in as vice president, I was talking a little bit like just writing down things that I'm thinking of so I don't forget. So take a look at the ceremonial installations. There's the shoe ceremony. I think Jennifer Swinney came up with that one. It was so cute. There's a shell, light your candle, just a ton of them. So be sure to look at those. And members can join national committees to grow professionally and network. Get involved. I think, start with your chapter, go on to regional, and your regional directors are right now looking for committees. So that's another way to get very involved to move you towards, a national committee. Let's take advantage of the strengths that we have. Somebody might be super good at one, certain avenue. So take advantage of that and get involved. Attend webinars and reach out to national chairs to get involved. President Ost has her board meetings that are open, which I think is super engaging. I think it's wonderful to have them open so that the membership can hear what's going on the national level. So be sure to try to attend those. So that way then you can see what we're doing in action. And if you have any questions, or sometimes you don't hear of something until the meeting, but if you attended the board meeting, just play it in the background, just listen to us while things are going on, as well as any of the other committees. There's so many webinars that are being done and led right now, some really great ones. So, make sure you're checking the NAWIC website, almost weekly, because something new is popping up all the time. So, and those are free, they're members, and great information. Great way to get involved. Any questions so far? Let's see. I'm just going to open the chat and just make sure. Where do I find? Thank you. And Amber, if I miss anything, can you kind of just let me know? I know you're so good at that. Thank you. Okay. So next, leadership in action, leading with confidence and purpose, setting chapter goals and vision, running effective and inclusive meetings, mentoring and developing future leaders. Whew, that's a lot. So leading with confidence and purpose, embrace your leadership style. Again, there's so many different leadership styles, even if it feels new and uncomfortable. I think we sometimes forget why we joined. I remember when I first joined, I was like, this, very quiet, sat in a corner. And I come from a long line of NAWIC. My mom's a 47-year member. But nope, I was like sitting in the corner, don't talk to me, I don't want to get involved. And then, now look at me. So yeah, even if it feels uncomfortable, I think NAWIC is great with personal development, just getting us outside our comfort zone, whether it's selling 50/50 raffles, doing an inspiration, just talking and networking. I'm sure if you put in what you want to get back, you're going to see that return multiply number of times. Lead by example through professionalism, empathy, and commitment. I know that's saying treat people the way that you want to be treated. Trust yourself and your team. You were chosen for a reason. And again, even if you're not on the board or in that leadership role, but you're helping somebody, maybe mentoring, you might be leading them without even knowing. So I think just, running, NAWIC, just like how you would, even in your job, if there is somebody, your coworkers and you're training them or how you want to see something develop, take them with you for the ride and give them the tools to help be successful. And then ask for feedback and be open to learning. I think constructive criticism is so healthy. I think we learn from that. And I think sometimes our strength isn't, always getting that feedback and saying, yeah, I know, I knew that, or whatever it is. But being able to, I think a good leader is being that one that can listen. And I think we could all agree to that. You have to be able to listen, even if it's not what we want to hear. Sometimes there's different opinions. We're women, right? There's going to be definitely different opinions. And I think, being able to listen to both sides and being able to come, united as one for what is best for your membership is, the goal. So setting chapter goals and vision, define clear, realistic goals within your board at the start of the term. I think that's huge because sometimes, you get a president in there and they want to do, 10 different, they want to change the world, but you have to be realistic and know your audience and what is, what is realistic and what you're able to accomplish rather than having 20 different things linger out there and not being able to finish them. So have realistic goals. I think most chapters do like a strategic, get together,
A planning meeting.
Yep. So we hold a planning meeting, whether it's in August, September. I think we invite the entire membership. They come together and like, what worked well, what didn't work well. Before that, we send a survey to the entire membership. What do they want to hear? Does the meeting time frame work? Because sometimes it doesn't work. So sometimes we've even add in, we hold our meetings in the evening, but we know that there is a large majority that want, lunch meetings. So we might throw in a lunch meeting, even maybe twist them around, maybe 1 month, in the evening, 1 month in the lunchtime. Make sure you're meeting your membership goals and needs. And how do you find that information out? You need to ask them, whether it be Survey Monkey, having them at a planning meeting, emailing them, saying something in the newsletter, however it is. But you need to be able to make sure, and the meeting and your membership needs change. I think they change every year, right? I think from maybe what was, 10 years ago to right now, totally different. New members coming in, some going out. I think there needs change. So be sure you're looking at that. Do you have anything to add for that one?
Mm-mm.
No? So align your goals with NAWIC's mission and what the local member needs are. We just talked about that. Break big goals maybe into small goals, actionable steps. Again, I think that's just being realistic, making sure that if something is working, great, keep at it. And how can it be tweaked to make it even better? I think we need to also remember, oh, that's been done before, we can't do it. It didn't work. Well, why didn't it work? You might have a new leadership coming in that they might have a different passion. They might have different connections. They might have different strengths to make it maybe work this time. And you just don't know. So I think that goes back to being open to the new leadership and not, turning out their light and saying, nope, we can't do that because it's always been done. And I think we do hear that a little bit more too often. So we need to just not do that, I don't think. I think we just need to be a little bit more understanding on that one. What do you have to say on that?
I agree.
Yeah, I know, and that's hard to do because I think, sometimes, um, I know with my mom, she'll even, just coming from a business standpoint, it's like, oh no, we've done that before. It's not working. It's like, well, you know what? And then I just tweak my words because it's like, well, I know it didn't work, but let's try this one because I think they really will engage in it and like it. And, I think the more enthusiasm you also have because you want to be able to sell your audience and your membership. So always try to come in with, what are those pros rather than the cons. And post your goals, post them and track your progress. I think the more you engage the membership and excite them, then they're buying in. Get them included. Who can help out, who can, find their strengths, and maybe with the survey and when you're doing your planning, find out, what are their strengths? What do they do in their day-to-day job or their hobbies? And play out that. I think we have so many speakers within our NAWIC database that we don't take advantage of. And there's some really super amazing women. I think you all are, but some dynamic speakers that really want to engage and can bring some strength and highlights. And what great way to find a speaker, right? Within your own membership and gives them something to do.
My convention was on the speakers.
Was it? Oh, that's exciting. I don't remember that. Yeah. I mean, and then also being able to have that company support, where it's like, oh, wow, I'm speaking. And, we always want to engage that company. So be sure to, yeah, take advantage. Know your membership, I think is the biggest thing. Running effective and inclusive meetings. Prepare an agenda, share it with the audience in advance. That goes back to preparing scripts. This goes to the president. Be sure to send that to the vice president. I think your board, I really do, but make sure in particular your vice president, because they will be, in case you, run out of gas or you're running late to a meeting, they need to be able to and be prepared to run your meeting in case of your absence. Your secretary needs to have that. Your parliamentarian should have reviewed it before. So make sure, scripts, and I think scripts are just keeps everything rolling in order. Make sure, it's like that post-it note, nothing is left out in case, you forget this. It's a nice way to go back and say, oh, I need to remind the membership of whatever it is. But make sure you are setting a script and an agenda. And I think the agenda needs to be handed out to a good, do you guys still do that? Yeah, because we don't, we stop. But I think, yeah, I think that's important. So I mean, again, every chapter is different. Sometimes there are QR code. It's like here, scan it, then it's right there. I mean, there's so many ways you could do it. Even if you emailed it to them prior, it might get somebody who is not planning on coming to the meeting, it might get them engaged to come to the meeting. So, hopefully everybody's doing an agenda to keep in line with what's going on. Start and end on time, stay focused and respectful. I think it's important, stay, on time, start a meeting, be respectful for people's time, because I know time is valuable. Yeah, I think we're all so busy in our lives and with, family stuff going on, job stuff going on, the competitiveness out there, the NAWIC stuff. It's a lot. So just to be respectful to everybody's time and staying on task is important. Encourage all voices to contribute, especially the quieter members. When you do see somebody, just being a little bit more quiet, or maybe somebody you haven't seen in a while, to be reaching out to them. Shoot them an email, shoot them a handmade card, whatever it is. We haven't seen you in a while. Do you need a ride? Is everything okay? Your NAWIC, members are here for you. I think those go a long way. I have heard that a number of times from a number of members just throughout the US, that just that personal touch really goes a long way. It's always I tell our foreman, even on the job site, we don't know what other people are going through. And I think we all know, suicide is the highest in construction. But check in with your coworkers, maybe they had a terrible morning or something's going on in their home life. But I mean, just letting them know that you're there and how's it going really, I think makes a big, huge difference and can be the difference between a renewing member or non-renewing member. Then let's go mentoring and developing future leaders. I think that is what we're doing right now. Hopefully everybody is passing on the torch, passing on the tools that they do, and doing it throughout. A strong believer that, I just had this conversation even in our own chapter, and sometimes it's not receptive, sometimes it is, but we have a newer membership coming in and on our board running. I mean, brand new members. So it's like, well, maybe we don't need to do all the fun stuff this coming year. We need to focus back on leadership. What is the purpose of NAWIC? How are we doing our meetings? Teaching them the tools, whether that is every other meeting at 15 minutes, maybe at a meeting, hosting leadership training on weekends, whatever it is. I mean, I think there needs to be more of that. How to read a treasurer's report. We have, I think, we need to, teach our members, because that is a board, on the board, they need to, that's their fiduciary responsibility, is to be able to read it. And we all don't need to come from an accounting background. You do not need that, but you need to be able to understand it. We can't just read a treasurer's report and be like, yeah, that looks good, or we have money in the bank. Because, if you're having 1,500 in and 1,500 out, then you have zero to spend. It doesn't mean that you can go and, buy a bunch of balloons or wine, whatever it is, but you need to be able to understand that report on what is coming in and what is going out and where your funds are going. I think is huge. So those are things that I think should be being trained for your chapters. And those are things that we can help with for this committee. So if any chapters need any kind of training on how to write minutes, how to read and come up with a budget, there is a template for a financial budget online. But I mean, if any of the chapters ever need any help, please reach out to us or reach out to your director. All the regions have a chapter leadership chair. So I hope you are also reaching out to them, because not only, the national can help you, but you do have, resources within your region. And maybe, if you don't even do, maybe you're close with another chapter and you see them, thriving. How, I think we're all in this together, so we can only help each other.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So utilize that. I think those are huge ones. And then, and that just goes back to the co-chairs. I think the co-chairs can't even stress that enough. I think especially right now in the time of, the transition, get with your chairs that are coming in. And even when you're sending out the committee chairs, don't be afraid to ask them, like, okay, I see you doing this, or, WIC week just passed. I think I want to get involved. I really enjoy that. How did that go? What can I learn to be the chair for next year? And start working on that. But get with the chairs, so that way you could build the experience and get the knowledge. And that way, then it doesn't make it as scary. And you can help, be the replacement. Okay. So communication and collaboration, communicating across the generations. Again, this goes by knowing what your membership wants, the effective communication, how are you communicating with your members? Is it email? Is it text message? Is it social media? Is it newsletter? Know what, or do you have them all? What's working for your chapter that's getting that communication out? So I think knowing again what your members want. The younger members, we have a lot that are on social media. They don't want to be bombarded with a lot of the emails or, the print. But I know our seasoned members like print. I mean, when I take my mom to the airport, I'm like, it's on my phone, I got it. Oh no, I need that ticket printed. She drives me nuts sometimes, but that's okay. But that it's just different generations. So know your audience, and if to make sure that they are getting what they need. And let's see, public speaking, representing NAWIC. Be prepared for a 30-second elevator pitch. I think NAWIC's done this a number of times and I think it changes. But, these are always fun things to do, icebreakers at your meetings, your 30-second elevator pitch, almost like a speed networking. But there's an event, speak with confidence, community outreach, practice sharing NAWIC's mission and your leadership stories. I think leadership stories are always inspiring to that next generation or your guests that are coming in. How has NAWIC made them successful? What has NAWIC done to help you in your job or you get that next job and project? Or, I know NAWIC members take advantage all the time of, I'm going to Florida, I need a ride to the airport, to the hotel. I mean, your NAWIC members would love a phone call saying, hey, I'm in the area. I was talking with Jody, our current vice president in Guam. A member from Guam is coming into her area. And she was like, where are you going to be? We're going to meet, and they're going to meet each other, even though it's a couple hours away. But I mean, how cool is that? Because I mean, a trip to Guam isn't exactly an hour flight. So it's nice to be able to take advantage and to just meet and collaborate with other NAWIC members. So where was I? And then, along with all of that, making sure that we're not also overloading them. Keep it simple, keep it timely, be consistent with your emails, your newsletter, and social media. There's so many tools out there like Canva, MailChimp, to design things. I mean, I just said, I wish, my ChatGPT was a live person because I just, love her. I call her Veronica and she's amazing. So if you guys don't use, like Google Gemini or ChatGPT or any of those, I strongly suggest, because it's, I think just in our technology world right now is amazing and so many tools to make our lives more simple and effective. So take advantage of them. And spotlight members, share the upcoming events and your chapter wins, even the small wins, share that, get that communication out there. I think we as women don't highlight us enough and share that spotlight, or, just the kudos and good job. I think, we don't celebrate each other enough. I think we can nitpick and say, nope, I think you didn't do a good job or whatever it is. But I think, we need to be more of spotlighting and highlighting our successes. So try to, maybe do that in your newsletter or at your meetings. Conflict and working as a team. Oh, that's a fun one. Positive intent. Volunteers often juggle a lot. Address issues with empathy and an open communication. Use active listening and understand the full picture. So I think that's, is a huge one in itself, because just NAWIC, I think, and being women, I think we're harder on each other and harder as women than men. I think tend to be like, who cares, right? I mean, so I do think, we have so much going on. And I think I've said it a couple times in my thing. There's just with, home life or work life or trying to balance and trying to climb up that ladder with so many obstacles in our way, that we have a lot going on. So I don't think, I think we need to be more supportive for one another, whether it's good, we're not all going to get along. We're not all going to like each other's personalities, but I think we need to remember, why did we join NAWIC? Why are we here? What is the intent? We're women in construction, just helping one another thrive and move forward. So as long as we're doing that and trying to, listen to one another and understand the full picture, it, I think, only can help us move forward, survive, and be successful. So, try to resolve issues privately with a solution in mindset. Maybe you have to call in if there's a situation in your chapter that is not working well. Reach out to your region director, get them engaged, have them try to resolve a conflict and come up with a solution. If that, I mean, there is a process, there is always a way. And there's also written in our the bylaws, a resolution kind of outline. So there's avenues, but I mean, first try to resolve it. And, I do say take highly advantage of your region directors. They have such valuable information and have different tools, or maybe what's not working in the chapter, it might have happened in another chapter, maybe reach out to, another one that can help. Try to, and bring them in, kind of like a mediator. Do you have anything? I mean, I'm sure in 40 years you've had some situations that have come up.
Yes, and we've had special meetings with the people involved and worked it out.
Yeah, okay. I know we've had one in years ago, and you have strong personalities, and it was a good one. But and we called in the region director. I don't know if that kind of worked, but we, resolved it. I think one might have moved to another chapter, but it all did work out at the end, and we're all good friends. So I think we as women kind of, you just have to, sometimes it doesn't, but 99%, let's hope it does. And we're just trying to understand one another and just hold down. Working as events and member engagement. Okay. Offer a mix of events, education, networking, fun. You again utilize your membership to see what is working, what is not. Don't try to do it all. Do a few things well. Make members feel connected and inspired. Driving membership involvement and retention. Welcome new members. Again, this goes back to emailing, calling, shout outs. Invite new members to join committees. People stay where they feel seen, valued, and included. So that, I mean, actually, let me read that again. People stay where they feel seen, valued, and included. So that goes back to working on retention as well. So if you're not engaging in your current membership, or you're not seeing somebody, we can't go back and say, well, I wonder why they didn't rejoin. Let's make sure we're including everybody. We want to make sure NAWIC is a place where they do feel belonged and they are included. So, let's make sure, again, people stay where they feel seen, valued, and included. I kind of like that. Huh? Okay, recruiting new members and promoting NAWIC. Turn every event into a recruitment opportunity. Again, you have guests at your meeting, call them up, call your, coworkers, your suppliers, your people that you engage with, invite them, especially when you have that great speaker coming up. Why not? Encourage members to bring a guest. I think we all do that. Reach out to our schools, trade programs, job sites. Let's not forget to reach out to, the trades, especially, the unions, the job corps, the, I know Facebook has a large tradeswomen. I love reading all their stories on it. It's amazing. I'm not even well, today I feel like I'm in the trades a little bit, but I love reading them. I just love seeing that supportiveness, and, it's fun. It's fun to read. If you're on Facebook, there's a lot of tradeswomen's pages out there, but they're all from throughout the United States. I mean, I remember, I think I had posted something, and one of our NAWIC members, I want to say it was like Doreen or somebody, comment. I'm like, oh wow. So if you have a meeting notice, maybe post it on there, and you never know who you're gonna get. They're from all over throughout the US. So you never know who you're going to hit. Post them on LinkedIn, collaborate with everybody, your AGCs, your ASAs, CFMA, our other trade partner and associates. Invite them. QR codes are always good for quick signups. Everyone in your chapter is part of membership team. I remember saying this when I was membership, I think even on the national level, because everybody thinks, oh, it's the membership chair, they'll do it. And it's like, no, it's everybody's job, because it can't be that one person's job to recruit every member there is. It's all of us that we're all part of membership to recruit. And I don't even know if I could say this, but I'm going to stay tuned because there is some soon to be probably a good announcement coming out July 1st on a special membership contest kind of what do you call it? Like a collaboration incentive. Thank you. Coming out. So there's your little tidbit of the information. So giving you guys a heads up, it's going to be super fun, super cool. So remember, everybody is part of membership, and growth comes from personal invites. Let's see, collaborating with partners. Again, make sure your trade groups, offer sponsor perks like logos, mentioning, speaking time, host events. Yeah, exactly. Collaborate with other chapters. Yep. Perfect. Exactly like this. I know as soon as we do our installation, we're going to collaborate with like our San Francisco chapter, and just do a come meet the officers. Let's get together, plan the new year, whatever it is. So if you guys are close enough to another chapter, great. Excellent. Promoting, let's see, where am I at? Promoting diversity and inclusion in programming. Invite diverse voices to be spoken and lead, showcase roles, the field, the union, the office. I think one of our best meetings is when we have somebody from the office, from the job site to, an owner. I mean, it's just the collaboration and to be able to see how the full circle comes together. I think those are our most engaging, to get everybody included. Inclusion is built through intention, listening, and representation. My notes are I love the quotes. So, okay, moving on. Next slide. Operational excellence. These are always the fun ones. This is the work where it comes. To know your chapter's governing on documents, they guide the decisions. Again, this goes back to your section C. Be sure to read it. Even if you're not, again, in a leadership role, just take a minute to read it. Then you'll kind of understand and have a better, knowing of how NAWIC operates and what your chapters should be doing. I think it's huge just to cover the day-to-day practices. Review these regularly, go over them. This goes back to leadership training and the next people coming in. Use them to handle disputes, the uncertainty with confidence. Just keep a quick reference in a binder. Bring, the president should have them at every meeting. The parliamentarian, make sure your parliamentarian is, reading them up to date, knows your Robert's rules. So that way, if anything does come up, then you have something to go back on.
These are the tools to run your business.
Yep, tool.
I think they froze.
I'm gonna shoot Shauna a text real quick.
I'm here.
Oh, there you are. Okay.
I'm so sorry. It was like we're sitting here going, that was weird. So where did I leave off?
The tools for your tools.
It was mid-sentence. I think you said, I think you.
Like,
and then it stopped.
Okay.
Like
So
making
yeah,
sure the
you're
parliamentarian knows the Roberts rules and like kind of moving on from there.
Yeah, have the
Thank
copy
you,
of the rules
guys.
and everything.
I appreciate you guys paying attention to us. I feel like I've just been rambling. So yeah, it's almost like we were saying, the tools to run your business, right? So your Roberts rules, your bylaws, make sure that you're familiar with them. So that way you just know the tools to run, your NAWIC chapters. And again, budgeting, your financial accountability. This is treasury focus. I know we have like 10 minutes left, so I don't want to, but to really make sure that you guys are understanding your financials and seeing, if things go over budget, who's approving that? I know in our chapter, nothing can go over, $100 without having board recommendation or approval from your membership. So yeah, making sure that everybody's in, because I totally get it. And I think the hugest thing, like I love, Cheris who's coming in. I think she's been very candid that she doesn't have like a strong, accounting background, but she's been the chapter treasurer, 7, 8 times and very familiar with it. So we don't have to be accountants, but you do have to have some kind of, order to know that what is coming in and what's going out, and really paying attention to those numbers and asking the questions when you don't understand. And again, on the chapter level, everybody, the board approves the budget and the financials. So, but every member can ask for a copy of those financials. So, we always announce at our dinner meeting, if anybody wants to see them, please see the secretary and she will send you a copy or give you a copy. Running for elections and officers transitions. I think we've kind of covered that, but again, it's really getting with the ones that are coming in, going out, getting the transparency, making sure things are announced clearly, transfer of records, contacts, anything like that. Just make sure you're setting somebody up for success and not failure. That would go back to secretary as well, giving them all the notes, where to file things, what needs to be filed, when, how to take notes, just to help them out, be that, the guidance. And then utilizing NAWIC resources. Again, we have so many, sample templates of agendas, scripts, notebooks, the handouts, whatever, there is a resource, because if we don't have it, I guarantee you another chapter does have it. So we will not, try to recreate the wheel. We can share. Let's go to the next one, building a legacy. This is, this is your chapter. This is that legacy coming down. So it is really giving and helping celebrate the next leaders, giving them all the tools and the leadership that we can, encouraging involvement, getting the ones involved, giving them maybe the small tasks that lead into bigger tasks. Somebody who is just doing inspiration or the 50-50, I guarantee you when they're feeling involved, they're going to want to take it to the next level. Like, how do I chair, membership? How, find their strength, find their weakness, and, build off that. Pass down any kind of, traditions. I think NAWIC has a long, foundation that we established. I mean, we are around, what, 60, 70, 70, almost 70. God, see, that's why I have Linda with me.
Our chapter 66 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's such a huge foundation from where we started to where we are right now. Build off that, what's worked, what hasn't worked, and, preserve that, where did the chapter find out, where it began. I mean, I remember, when we talk about NAWIC, we talk about these women that just came. Yes, you're celebrating your 66th anniversary. There was like a couple women came together in a coffee shop, and then it led to 15 women, 16, building what women in construction. Then it became the national. I mean, look at that legacy. I mean, how is it for your chapters? Where did they get started? I think a lot of chapters have scholarships in, their founder's name, but the newer members may not even know who that is. We have one in our chapter that was our chartering president, but you know, if we don't share those stories, they're not gonna know who they are or why they even exist.
Lindsay.
So,
Who's Lindy?
yeah, you know, so share those, preserve those, build, continue to build up those legacies and why. You know, it doesn't have to be that same, well, we've been doing this for 20 years and we're just gonna keep continuing it. But why are you doing it? You know, and what can be changed? So be open again to the newer members coming in, making sure that whatever you have been doing, that it is, you know, up to date with the current flair to engage, you know, the current membership. I think is that, and sharing, you know, the national leadership, the experiences, the supporting, support the travel, going into national and regional events. You know, you have Boston coming up. Does your, you know, planning committee support, you know, your fall conferences that are in October and November, you know, your spring forums? Make sure you're including to send your leadership team to those events. And yeah, just, I mean, there's so much. And I know we're like cut on, you know, just a couple minutes. So I don't want to, you know, keep bombarding you. But I didn't realize there was so much, you know, that we could be sharing and not even talking so much about our quorums and what constitute a board. But again, I'm available almost 24/7. I always say that. So please don't hesitate. And yeah, does anybody have any questions? I so much appreciate all your guys' time and everything. And again, this will be, it's recorded, so it'll be on the NAWIC website. And yeah, if anybody wants to, I could send Amber, I could send you the PowerPoint along with my kind of cue cards, because it gave a lot about, it gave it some really good information. So I could share those as well. And it's good reminders. So you guys could even share this back with your own chapters.
That would be great. I can share that with the VP.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, and I'm always available to jump on a call or Zoom or whatever with any of your chapters. But again, please take advantage of your regional chairs, because they are willing and wanting to do the work. And if you are in Boston, come to the chapter leadership. You know, we'll be doing, it's about an hour long. It might even run depending on if we have more time, but it should be super great. We're going to do like some mock board meetings, you know, and some questions. It should be a super good learning tool. You'll really enjoy it. So if you're in Boston, please come to that. But yeah, please reach out anytime if you need anything at all. I hope this was valuable to you guys. And if you ever have feedback for our next webinars or something that we could talk further on, don't hesitate.
Great
Sounds
job,
great.
Sonia.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Linda. I know we're here now. We're going to go. We have 40 girls out there learning, I think sheet metal today, and they will graduate, but they've already said, no, we need this a week long. So it's super cool. You know, we're engaging that next generation. So love it. Yeah. So.
Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. And see you guys soon. And again, I thank you for your time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Have a great day.